Welcome to the Flicks, Picks, and the Nitpicks. And I am your humble host, Nova 718. Let's just get into it today. We already know that Snyder Cut is coming. This is Road to the Snyder Cut. And this is episode 4. And we're going to get into all the fun, nit, and grit. You guys are going to get mad at me that whoever's listening, I should say, will be if you followed this, you'll get mad that it's been a while because I was supposed to do this often enough, but I'm going to hit you with a lot of stuff concerning the Snyder Cut. Kind of fell off from it from before, like I told you guys, because the fandom started getting real weird. So I was like, you know what we're going to do is this. We going to bring the fun back in there and the excitement, and I want you guys to come to this channel to talk about everything. We've been getting to some of the controversies. We're going to be honest about stuff, and we're also going to be sincere to it. But most importantly, what I want everyone to do is do what we all do when you come to this channel. We came to get into the geek shit. So let's get into the geek shit. And if you know anything about me, I geek up over character designs and the concepts and the things that make people want to come to terms to this finalized vision for what Stepphenwolf was supposed to be. And let's just go off with this here, to be honest, and give a full view of what we're working with, because this is your boy Stepphenwolf from the comics, and I think this is like a new 52 version, and this is him in Zack Snyder's BVS. And look, man, not for nothing, and I love the fact that we get to really see him in his full glory. This is not a bad design, you know what I mean, especially for like an updated version of him from the comics, but to go to this. So make no mistake, I really wasn't mad at all at the design choices that we ended up getting in Joss Whedon's version. And let's look at this guy right here. This wasn't really a bad depiction. When I saw him, I thought he looked pretty dope for Stepphenwolf. He looked more in line with how he looked in the comic book. This seems a little bit more true to form. So I see to myself, I'm like, I bet. I see this. The animation could have been a lot better. I wasn't really mad at this kind of color tone. He just seemed a little bit more stiff. You could kind of tell. Like I said, the design wasn't bad at all to me. He just seemed stiff, and he just didn't seem like dynamic as a character, not as imposing as this. But these are some of the character design work that looks like, oh man, this shit is so fucking dope. Look at this. And now when you really like zoom in, look at the textures on this, and it looked like a lot of metal shards. Now before, I used to not be like, a lot of people would do it looked like composite work when you see a lot of character designs where it seemed like they just throw a lot of layers on top, which isn't a bad thing. We've seen it in the design work that they've done for Black Panther, which isn't a bad thing at all. Like, make no mistake, I'm not knocking it. Damn, look at his eyes. I'm just not really looking at it. But anyways, not a bad thing. But here it really stands more out, and from what I've read and understood, it's supposed to be alive. But it looks kind of like, and I remember reading in the comment section how someone said, now close up it looked more like scales, but I see what they were talking about. It looked like weavings. You see it? It looked like weavings. And it would make sense, especially if it's supposed to be kind of almost sentient, if you will, or alive, like he could connect to it. And I believe I told you guys before, I think probably the most effective way, I would at least, and this is an assumption, I don't know if they thought this this in depth about it, but it could have been like maybe a composite of telepathy, and he can kind of engage with it. It might not be fully like autonomously sentient, like it could just do its own thing on its own. No, he interfaces with it and it kind of moves with him. And again, it goes very well and in line with the theme of he's supposed to be seen as this big gigantic space knight. And I could kind of see that with this, and I believe that it kind of grows onto him. But let's see. Now this is supposed to be more of, and this looks a little bit closer to how he kind of looked in the Joss Whedon, in terms of you could kind of see the face, and again, this looked like a bunch of composite overlays in transition, like a mixture of a lot of different paintings with fades in and out, like a Photoshop trick, if you will. Not shitting on it at all. It just, you know, it just looked like a style, but it's not bad. It looks dope. It gets off the effect, and definitely, I'm loving what I'm seeing here, especially like the fact that they decided to make him like a two-toed creature. I don't know, because it looked like it's climbing on him like the armor, and I do believe Zack Snyder actually had confirmed that it kind of grows on him. At one point you kind of seen him naked, and then it grows on him, and I think there's a picture I might even have that shows his back. But these are dope. If these are official character design works, this is actually very dope. Very dope. Not that. Yeah. And this is another piece that we see here. I guess this is a standing in front of the ship. Again, a more fully formed armor set. Looks amazing though. Like, it looks real dope. Very, you can, in this shot it looks very, well, I think his name is H.R. Geiger from Alien, the designer, the painter, that they got the whole like feel from. This kind of looks in line with the type of structures that he would do, at least definitely in the background. But as you see it formed and pulled back, you see a lot of that kind of vibe in it. And it's not like, again, I mean, it's pulling from an alien. It's supposed to be an alien, and I love the fact like they're really doing their best to play into that. Now let's check this one out right here. Let's look at this right here. His back. Like, again, this is really dope. This is really dope. Look at what they did here. Look at this. And you can see how it looks. Look at his back. This is real dope. And like I said, again with the layering, but you can see the weaving, like it goes over, climbs over his body all the way up to the head. This is really, look at this. Look at this. Look at this design work. Look at the texture maps. I just wonder why he has horns and whatchamacallit doesn't. Unless he's like an adopted nephew, because I believe he's Apocalypse's nephew, Steppenwolf, in Zack Snyder's incarnation, as opposed to it being the other way around, with Steppenwolf being the uncle to the Titan. Or actually, is he referred to as a Titan? Or I'm mixing him up with who he was created off of Thanos. But neither here nor there. Steppenwolf, like, I believe he's Darkseid's nephew, or Darkseid's nephew. At least in this incarnation, as opposed to Steppenwolf being Darkseid's. Or Darkseid. I don't know. I say Darkseid a lot more, but I hear people say Seed. But Darkseid's uncle, which he's originally been envisioned as. But that's actually very dope. Very dope. Matter of fact, let's bring that one back up again, because we could just scroll over and see the difference. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. See how I said with the overlays? Boom. And again. And look at it. Boom. Boom. Look at that. Let's rock that again. You see what I was saying? How they overlay it on Photoshop, which is definitely a great way to do it. But you see it weaving on him. Like, this is his body. I guess I don't know if this is all the way his skin. I don't think so, because, yeah, this is part of the armor. It's climbing up his legs. So I don't know if he's... Yeah. Yeah. Because some of it is on part of his body. You can see part of it on him, but the rest of it grows onto him. It's like he has a light weaving onto it, and then he armors up over it. And let's do this again. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Boom. Look at that. With the extra armor. Like I said, I get a kick out of this. And as you see here, look at his face. A lot more armor coming up onto the horns, onto his shoulder pads, the chest. And look how it goes over. Now he looks a little bit more closer to like the Predator. And then I guess this is him fully spiked up. This is where I get a little lost, because it's kind of hard to really know what's going on here with the actual design, but I think that's kind of the point. So that's why when you see an action, it almost seems like, what is it? Is it moving? Like you're not sure. And I think that's why people say they feel like it looks too CG. It's because what you're really seeing is the effect of the suit. And that was kind of how they were going to portray the suit. That was the best way to portray the suit as being alive. And we'll got to see it in the film and see how it moves. But I'm really not mad at it. Like, I really like what I'm seeing. And I believe that's just almost all about it, really. I mean, we can just see this up here a little bit more closer, detailed in the face. I really like this. This is like a cool choice to really go real alien on him. Make him look like something out of this world, but still sci-fi like or esque in its way, but still can stand amongst the Greco-Roman theatrics of their gods. And I think it's dope because now it makes him look just, if not more menacing than the gods themselves. And that's kind of the point. It's like the terrestrial gods fighting these mythological gods. And I see so much possibilities in it, in just that aesthetic. That's why I can't wait to see the actual fight. Like, look at this. And this is a more detailed version of it, of the suit. Look at this. Damn. Now it's a little bit clearer. I'm assuming, is this a shield? And it weaves up. Yeah, it really does look like a knight armor. Zoom in. Check out this detail work. Look at this. Now it looks a little bit more like it makes more sense. It's more like form, like in form. Before it looked like a mash up, like a mash. Here it looks like, all right, now I can see it interlocking and how it moves. It looks more like armor. But the spikes now, it does look kind of uncanny, but I guess that's the point. It's kind of alive and sentient. This is just going to be amazing to see how they make that realized on screen. And I feel like this is a shield forming. Like, look at this. It's all jagged, but you can see interlocking, and now it looked like segments, but also weaving. Look at that. It should look crazy though. It should look crazy though. Yeah, this look crazy though. Oh man, this shit looks sick. This shit looks sick. And the thing that I find so fascinating is this is not an idea I would have went with. Like I myself, when I asked myself, is that the way you would have went with Steppenwolf? I wouldn't. I think I would have kept it closer to the book. That's why I wasn't mad at Joss Whedon's interpretation. But I like it when people go left and it's still in line with what you're building, because you're doing a more sci-fi-esque version. Now here, this does look a little bit out of proportion, because if you look at the other picture, his head looks a lot smaller. Here, his head looks like so much huger, if you will, as opposed to what we're seeing here. You feel me? Like it looks a little bit smaller and a little bit more in proportion here. This, it looks so much big on the body. Like look where it looks like this sits inside of his shoulders while this goes out. Like if he was to stand, straighten up his head, the horns would be like all the way over his shoulder, whereas here it's kind of more in line with being within it if he was to look straight on. So I don't know, but like I said, you got to see it when it's in screen. I don't know if this has to be the CG model, or I don't think this is somebody else's thing. This was like supposed to be like a crisper version, more detailed version of it. So I don't know. Excuse me. But for what we got here from the comic, and let's get them both together. Found this online with someone had both. Oops. Yeah. Oh man, like look at this. Look at this shit. And I still say this Joss Whedon joint looks dope. I really like this. I wish I would have showed him holding his axe, but so we got a good like back and forth. This actually looks dope. I like the helmet. I love the detailing. I thought this was dope, but he looks more in line with the gods, so he fit with the gods. I love this drastic change because it gives him a more dynamic approach. And make no mistake, I mean, Steppenwolf, even though I wasn't a big DC Comics fan, he's not prolific in the like as a independent character. He's not. Otherwise, he definitely would have hit my radar. Even though I like DC and I love DC, Steppenwolf is a little bit closer to a deep cuts character. At least until like they brought him out for this, and you know what I mean. He showed up in an animated series, if I'm not mistaken. But even then, that might have been a lot of people's first time seeing him in the comics. Even though he's had his time over the years since he's been created, obviously, because he's not like a very new character. He hasn't, his spacing in the universe as a villain was never that big. You know, everybody knows the major villains of DC, and he would be maybe more like if everyone else is at best a B in the comics, but I'd say he was more of a CD character in terms of, and not in terms of importance, or just in terms of presence and reoccurrence, you know, and or matter of fact, I was saying notoriety. And yeah, but again, this was he could have, this was a guy that you could have. He's not like when we saw what's his name from BVS, Doomsday. We wanted the iconic bones. We started showing him grow it later on, and you know, Zack Snyder has alluded to that there may be the real one may be out there. Well, here's this. When you look at Steppenwolf, you could say, you know what, he's not as big as Doomsday, the man that killed Superman, but so we could act like Doomsday, that's what he makes his name, so I can see why people might have bitched. This guy, I think this will make sense. Especially when seeing what they created with Doomsday. I feel like this is definitely well in line, especially with the concept of being more alien, more, you know, unlike us. This is a little bit more our interpretation of what he could look like. Cool. But this is like, if Steppenwolf existed, he probably would look completely unlike this. I'm not going to say he looked closer to this, but this gives us unexplored possibilities of what a creature in the universe could look like if Steppenwolf existed as a creature, and how we could reimagine this creature when he gets armored up, whereas this guy will put this on this guy grows it on. And hopefully now you guys can see why I love this interpretation of Steppenwolf. So dope, man. So dope. Real excited for this one. Again, I look forward to seeing this guy on screen being this type of menacing. Ah, man, this is such a dope. And this looks really alive right here. But in any event, that's all I got for it, man. I'm just geeking out. Shoot, I ran this long enough, but hopefully if you guys hung in there with me, you enjoyed my commentary and how I felt about the character designs. And I'm really into character designs. And if you want to get a whole lot more of me going over character designs, I'm definitely keep it locked here. The character designs of what they've done for the Snyder Cut, I will be dropping. So keep it here, man, and this is gonna just keep it going, keep it fun. Stay excited and keep it locked. So like I said, always leave the comments below, like, share, subscribe. See you next time, and as always, I got the outro. Chill.